Musicians for coming up with all these great love songs. This is wonderful. I feel that's what's going on. I do. So welcome to Harmony Spiritual Center. Thank you all, for those of you who are in the room, for those who will be watching this later. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Rev.Dr. Pjae Stanley, and this is Harmony Spiritual Center. And what we do is we simply teach universal principles of love, and we learn how to create and design a life on purpose. We practice our actions. We practice the things that we talk about. We take them into the streets. So this is a daily practice that we work on, that we do in order to bring peace to the planet through love and attention and on purpose. We know for sure that God is all there is: source, substance, supply. So there is nothing outside of you that can manifest your life or change your life or do anything to your life. You are in charge of your life, and you are in charge of how you react to what is going on, or don't react to what is going on. That is your choice. That's what we do. And what we also know for sure is that we are, each and every one of us, not just in the room, but everyone, we are individualized expressions of the one love, which gives us the power to create and design our life on purpose. And that's what we do here. Talk about that. So last week, it was Love Be Here Now. That was the topic for last week. And we're talking about when we are open and available. When we are open and available, love comes in. And we can call love to us at any time that we want. Just love be here now. That's all it is. It's just a reminder that love is here now. And it's always here. We don't have to call it in. What we're doing really is reminding ourselves. It's just reminding ourselves that love is in the room. Love is in the situation, no matter what the situation may look like. That's what Love Be Here Now means. Today, first to love is an action on our part. And this is about, because we understand and know the powerful energy of love to be transformative, we are able to be the first to love in any and all situations, whether they are difficult or strained, whatever they may be. And I'm just here to remind you that those of us who know, when you know this and you live this way, you have the opportunity to be the first to love in any situation. And so what we do is just simply pay attention. Just pay attention to what's going on around us and where love needs to be actively in the room. When love needs to be actively in the situation, we offer love. We offer it up. We can just offer it up by just standing there, by just being there and being the presence of love. However you want, we can speak it into the room. We can do so many things, but we know that. And so that is our purpose, right? To be joyously inclusive. And so we include that love in everything we do and everyone we see. No one has to be, we don't have to look at them and say, are they deserving? Because everyone is. There's nothing that anyone has to do to deserve love from us. Nothing. And so today, I'm going to share that with you. And what does it look like? Because we're a center that talks about practical spirituality. And so I always want to talk to you about what I'm speaking about, what it looks like in action. How do we become the first to love? So I like to tell two stories, because stories, we remember stories, particularly if they're wild stories, but try not to make them wild. But I remember my sister, when the oldest sister passed away in 2014, and I was overseas at the time. And I came back for the funeral, and my baby sister, Essie, some of you know her, she's a great caterer. And we talked about, we just simply didn't want, when was the last time we had spoken to our older sister? Like, when was the last time we were together? And we'd been together quite a bit. In fact, I'd been over back to the U.S. to spend some time with her. I was planning on taking a trip with her to D.C., and so we were doing that. But we just wanted to put something into place that would make sure we visited with people, that we saw our family, and particularly the women in our family. And so we started this gathering of women that we do every year. We do it the weekend after Mother's Day. And so it started because of my sister passing away, because we simply didn't want time to pass. And so my sister and I, my baby sister and myself, we decided to do it. So I'm still in Thailand while we're putting this together. So I get this email that from some of the women we cousins and just everybody we'd invited, that one of the women was going to, she said it was okay for this woman to come and sell some of her, I don't know what she was doing, Mary Kay or Avon, I don't know what she was doing. And so I wrote back to my sister and I said, hey, maybe we need to talk, and I guess that we need to talk, that's not a good word to say, right? That seems to set people off. You say, for me, what I mean is I just need to understand what you're doing. But for her, it was really, so she fired off an email back to me saying, well, if I wanted to be in charge of the whole thing, she was going to step out, and she didn't need to do anything, and blah, blah, blah. It just went on and on. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So I called her. I just made a long distance call, and I called her and I said, listen, I don't know what this is going on or what this is about, but let me just tell you this. I love you. There's nothing that you can do, that we can do, that will stop me from loving you. So whatever is going on, we can work it out. I simply just had a question, but it has nothing to do with you and I and our relationship. I will always love you. You are she was the baby of the family, so she was my baby growing up. So you've always been my baby. You're always my daughter, my sister, and I will always love you. Whole thing came down. The whole thing came down just by starting it with that way. Let me just start off by saying, I love you. That's it. Okay? And a lot of times we will get into conversations with people and something happens. Our heart gets pierced, our ego gets hurt, something happens, something visceral that happens. And the ego thing, the first thing to do when the ego is involved is to fire something back off. Something snarky, something, I told her, I told him. You know what I mean? That's a human thing to do. The love thing to do, what we're talking about, because we are talking about this, because you're in the room and you want to know about it, you want to understand it, you want to live this way. This is what love looks like. And so think about it. So just, we talk about this all the time. Just because someone says something or even asks a question, you don't have to answer right away. You can take a breath. And I remember when our parents used to tell us to count to 10. Count to 10 before you do something foolish. And we just, what is it? And I said, ah! We just, we didn't want to do it because we wanted to get right to what we were doing. But taking a pause, taking a breath, and saying, love, be here now. So that you can have in your heart, you can speak from the heart, not from the ego, not from your mind, from your heart. That just brings everything, it transforms everything. So when you're thinking about it, and we're all in relationships, all kinds, even with yourself. We're even snarky with ourselves. Like we'll try to do something new. Oh, I'm gonna go and try whatever this is, whatever they're trying to do new. And the other side of you, I was talking with someone, they talked about it being the plurality of our existence. There's a can do and a you can't do. There's a believe what you can do and there's a not. There's the positive and the negative. And so anytime you begin to start to do something that you have not done before, the first thing your mind wants to do to bring you back to safety is, well, no, you can't do that. You don't know how. You tried it before. Now you may, let's say you tried to play the piano or you want to take some piano lessons. Now you might have gone onto the piano and just started twinkling around a little bit, and that's all you did. But your mind is like, you tried it before. It didn't work. Yeah, right? That's not true. That's our mind and our logic mind trying to bring us back to safety. That's just what we've learned to do, and we have to shift that paradigm. So as we're looking at what love looks like, we have to shift the paradigm from coming from the ego to coming from the heart. Take a moment and breathe if you need it. I mean, you may just be able to go right into it and just say, I love you. And even if you don't actually say it out loud, if you think it, if that's what you're thinking in your heart, like they're talking or they're doing whatever they're doing, but in your mind you're going, whatever this is, I love you. And we're going to work this out. At the end of this conversation, you're going to know that love is in the room. If you just think that, even the energy of your thoughts will soften whatever is going on. So that's what be the first to love looks like. You just love, no matter what is going on, no matter what someone is saying to you. And maybe you can't speak to them at that moment. Maybe they're just so fired up. You can't. And you can just say, I love you. I'm going to step away. We'll come back to this. That is all. You don't have to stand there and be berated or take the abuse. You don't have, I'm not asking that. I'm saying let love be in the room. Call it here now. If they still need to be what they're doing, you can still love yourself through it. And say, okay, well, I love you. This is not the time, clearly, for us to talk. I'm going to step out, and I'll be back. We'll be back. We'll continue the conversation later. Just give them a chance to breathe, whatever it may be. That's what love looks like. That's what be the first to love looks like. So, as I was, I have a little thing here that says what the point is. So I should probably tell you that what the point of this conversation is. The point is that when you know who you are and you know what matters, we talk about it all the time. I ask you all the time, what are your top 5 values? I don't ask you that just to be bothering you. I ask you that so that you can be clear about how you want to show up, what matters to you. And so when you get into these things, love is at the top of my list. It's in my top 5. Family is in my top 5. So I always know how I'm going to behave when it comes to family. I'm going to love. I'm going to ask the Spirit as the number 1. I'm going to ask Spirit to come into the room, take the ego away. So you have to know who you are in order to be, and what matters to you in order to show up as you. This is about living on purpose. Being here in this room, talking about these principles is about living on purpose and living the life that you want. So that's what this conversation is about. Know what matters, okay? Know what matters and offer what you can. And what we can offer in any situation is always love. We can do that. We don't have to stay there. We can just offer love and move on and come back later if that's what's needed, whatever each situation is needed. But as I was thinking about this talk, I was looking over my life and thinking about where are all the situations where the people have loved me first. I've not always been the person to love first. I have not. But people have loved me first. So I wanted to share, and I just would just list and list and list of people I hadn't thought about in years who loved me first. And the reason why they can do that, the reason why we can do it is because you're paying attention. You're paying attention to what's happening to people, what's happening around you. You're paying attention to, you're not just listening to the words, you're actually paying attention to their heart and what they need from you, And so when I first started, you guys know that I retired as a peace officer in California. And I first started off working for the state of California. I started working as what did they call it at the time? Switchboard operator, that's what it was, switchboard operator. But this is how long, I'm gonna date myself now. This is how long ago it was. The institution was old, but still, it's one of those spaghetti boards, you know? Hello, long time ago. And so I don't like rude people. It bothers me, just rude people, particularly on the phone when you really don't. So I'm the person that answers the phone for the whole institution, right? So I'm talking on the phone, and I can't tell you how many people I have just hung up on. What is going on? Boop. I'm not gonna do it. Well, there were some complaints. As you might imagine, there were some complaints. Well, the CEO, or the president of the whole institution, he called me into his office and he said, "It doesn't seem like the switchboard is something that really suits you." I'm looking at something that I want to create, and I think you'd be perfect for it. I said, "Okay, what's that?" And so we have a lot of juvenile delinquents that are in it. It's an institution, and he said, "We need someone to create. I need you to create a grievance system, where if the kids are having a problem with someone, they have a system that they can file a report, and say something's happening, that there's a review, and all of that. And I need you to create that, and I need you to run it." I said, "I can do that because I love people." I said, "I can do that." Great. And so he had me create a whole another job. Rather than fire me, which would have been really right in his right to do, he saved me. And I was able to do that, and I loved it. I loved working with the kids. When I started doing that, I saw that, there's a counseling situation. I really like this. I became a counselor. I did all those things. And so, but if I had gotten fired, that whole job would have been gone for me. I wouldn't have been able to retire because I would have been gone. I would have been fired. He saved me. I didn't even realize he knew me. He did. And so he was the first. He just said, let me save this little girl. She don't even know. I was young. I was stupid. I didn't have the patience that I have now. That wasn't funny. But my point of that is that we have all been the first to love for others. Others have loved us first. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. And I know the power of that. The power of that. So that's what we want to do. And so what I want to do is give you some action steps. I always want to give you action steps. And the first one is always know who you are. You have to know who you are. You have to be grounded in who you are. How are you going to offer love to someone if you don't really know who you are and love yourself first? You have to do that. Pay attention. We just have to pay attention. As we're going through the day, the first to love is also about just offering help, offering assistance as you're just walking out in the world. So how are you going to offer assistance if you're not actually paying attention to what is going on around you? That people need help, that there's something going on. I'll ask people all the time, oh, can I help you with that? Do you need some help with that? Because I can see people trying to figure out how something might work or trying to pick up a bag that's too heavy or whatever. Opportunities to help abound. And for me, that is just one quick way to show love in the world. It's just helping other people all the time. So you have to pay attention. Know who you are, pay attention, and then offer love. Even when the ego wants to be snarky. And it happens, right? We just want to fire back. Just breathe and offer love. And whatever that looks like. We were talking yesterday, it feels like yesterday, last week, afterwards, from your thing, from the meditation you had done, and we were talking about offering a rose, just offering up your flower. It was a rose for me, but it was ever a beautiful flower. So as you're upset with somebody, you don't have to offer an actual rose, but as you're just thinking and they're talking, you're thinking, you can just, in your mind, offer them a rose. I think it was Barb Sigma was saying she thinks, because I called Spirit George. So because I just talked with George all the time and just give it a name. Doesn't mean that I think it's human, it's just, or that it even has any human characteristics, but it does because it has all of ours, but whatever. I just call it George. This is easier for me to speak to. She said she's going to start calling Spirit love. She just felt like that was an easy way to call Spirit in, just call it love, which it is. It's the highest form. It's love. It's Spirit. So just offer love. And as you can see, offering love is just opening up your heart and seeing the God in everyone you see. That's really, really bottom line what you're doing. You're seeing the God in them, and you're letting the God in you see the God in them. That's what love is. That's what offering love really means. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we can do. We can do whatever we want, but that's what we can do. We understand and we know the transformative powers of love. It's almost like magic. It melts away so fast, you're thinking, what the heck happened? What was going on? That it just seemed so tense just a second ago. And now it's love and ease. It's amazing. We're here every Sunday and other times that we're here together to learn about ourselves and to learn about the power we have and the power that others have. And because we're here and because we understand that and we're learning that and we're deciding on it, then we're able to be the first to love. We're able to do that. Everyone in this room is able to do that. So by offering love, being love, and helping others and paying attention, we get to offer love. So I want you to think about it and ask and answer for yourself, how are you available to be the first to love? How are you available? Think about that. How do you want to be the first to love? Because that is our purpose, to be love and to be joyously inclusive. That's what we're here for. I want to give you a final quote from a woman. Her name is Jackie Landry. She's a hospital clerk in Michigan, I believe, and she adopted 4 children from China. She said, "Love is primal. It is comprised. It is comprised of compassion, care, security, and a leap of faith. I believe in the power of love to transform, and I believe in the power of love to heal." And it does. It heals all wounded hearts. It does. My final thoughts to you are that, as you know, love is transformative. It is healing. Love is inclusive. It includes everyone. It is all that is necessary to heal our hearts and that of the planet. Love yourself first, because you are worthy. You were born worthy, and nothing has changed. I don't care what anyone else tells you. Nothing has changed. You are worthy to be loved. The moment you truly love yourself, then you are available to love others completely. And you become available to be the first to love. And so it is. Namaste.